The following program is the work of broadcast students from the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the past week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT magazine, a Burnaby housing complex is infested with bed bugs.
An iPhone thief suspected at BCIT's fitness center.
And a Pee Wee hockey coach receives a 15-day penalty in jail.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Sana Rangwala.
And I'm Matt Lee.
Residents of a Burnaby housing complex are dealing with some unwanted guests, bed bugs. How they got there isn't quite clear, but the problem has been going on for years. Now a tenant who asked us to protect her identity is speaking up against BC Housing. She believes it hasn't taken the residents' request to evict the pest seriously enough. Matt Lee has the story.
This is a creepy, crawly problem for Karen, who's lived at Stratford Gardens for 2 years. Bed bugs.
Around the doors. And actually when the lady from the ministry was here the other day, when she left, there was one right here.
The legs of her furniture are wrapped in plastic, designed to keep the blood-sucking pests from crawling up. Many of her clothes are packed and sealed in rubber containers to prevent anything from getting inside. Anything she doesn't need in her home is tucked away in storage. For Karen, trying to bear the bedbug burden for the last 2 years has taken its toll.
How could anybody sleep knowing that you're just surrounded with bugs? It's just nasty.
We found this tiny little bloodsucker on her ceiling. Karen has her home sprayed for bedbugs once a week, yet she's still seeing them inside her home at least once a day. Clearly nothing has worked the last 2 years, and she's grown tired that more isn't being done by BC Housing.
I'm finding out that this has been ongoing for years, right? And I wasn't notified. And I just thought, if it's not legally wrong, then it's morally wrong.
We contacted BC Housing to get a response. However, they were only able to provide an emailed statement. In it, they said that in some cases, it takes several treatments to eliminate the bed bugs. They also added that in the Lower Mainland, they spent up to $800,000 in pest control treatments alone.
And I'm still dealing with it today. I've had 50 entries into my apartment from pest control people. Wow. 50.
Bedbugs do have a history in the Lower Mainland. According to a 2011 report, 43 of 49 BC housing developments were treated and sprayed for infestations. But in the meantime, Karen will continue her 2-year fight against these pests. She's determined to prevail, but the battle with the bedbugs has her reaching her breaking point.
BC Housing should have dealt with it, everything, right? So anyway,
Matt Lee in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. Students and staff at BCIT are worried after experiencing a chain of phone thefts at the school gym. As Christina Jung found out, one staff member feels the surveillance systems and campus security aren't doing enough.
Students at BCIT come to the gym between classes or on their lunch breaks to play basketball or badminton. And although school facilities are believed to be a safe environment, surveillance cameras are still installed around the gym. The presence of cameras is why Dylan Wilson never thought twice about leaving his belongings on the bleachers while playing basketball.
I had my phone, my wallet, my keys in my jacket pocket, just like wedged between the bleachers and my bag. And I play my first game, come back to go check my phone, reach in my pocket, I feel my wallet, my keys, but my phone was gone.
Wilson said he searched the gym and change rooms before reporting his lost phone, but immediately suspected it was stolen.
I decided just to phone it, and it was off. So clearly that's when I realized someone stole it and turned it off.
Wilson isn't the only student who has had his phone stolen at the BCIT gym. According to Recreation Supervisor Marshall McDonald, in the last 10 days, there have been at least 5 cases of phone theft reported.
We've had a recent rash of thefts in the gymnasium, people playing basketball and badminton, losing cell phones. If you set it down, chances are there's a good chance it'll be taken at some point.
McDonald can monitor the surveillance cameras from his desk, but recording it can only be done by security. When we spoke with BCIT security, they said they were unable to comment on ongoing investigations. However, they did provide this statement. The theft of property is always a concern. However, lockers are provided for the storage of personal property while students are using the facility. Back at the gym, McDonald is frustrated by security's lack of response.
I don't know whether security has the teeth to be able to do anything. I mean, we don't see much follow-up.
While students are busy playing basketball, thieves can pretend to take their own belonging while snatching a phone from someone else's pockets, costing the victim up to $700 to replace it. Christina Jung in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
According to statistics, there's been an almost 50% increase in stolen mobile devices in Vancouver over the last 2 years. Christina Jung joins us live. And Christina, has there been an increase of theft in other personal belongings as well?
Matt, no. When I spoke to Dylan Wilson, the victim, he told me he had his wallet and iPod in the same pocket. However, only his phone was taken. And according to Supervisor Marshall McDonald, several times thefts have occurred only 30 minutes apart from each other. I contacted security once again this morning, and they said it's still an ongoing investigation and therefore cannot make any comments. Both the victim and the staff at BCIT Gym have yet to hear any updates from campus security. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Christina. And it was an example of the ugly side of sports earlier this week, as former Pee Wee hockey coach who tripped 2 young players during the post-game handshake is heading to jail. Thorsten Gerlach has the details.
Flanked by his lawyer and ex-wife, Martin Tremblay arrived in Richmond Provincial Court to meet his fate. The verdict was read and the decision came down. 15 days in jail to be served on weekends for this incident. Video shows Tremblay deliberately tripping 2 players during the post-game handshake of a Pee Wee Championship hockey game. Tremblay also tried to punch the 13-year-old twice and was seen giving the finger to parents. Martin Tremblay was taken to jail directly after the verdict was read. However, his lawyer Bob Bello says he's learned his lesson.
He lost his wife. He lost a number of construction contracts. He's rebuilding his life after this incident.
Before he handed down his sentence, Judge Patrick Chen said, "This was the last place anyone would have expected an assault to take place, and the very last place one would have expected an adult to assault a child." Martin Tremblay was already on probation for a previous assault on his employer when the incident at UBC's Thunderbird Arena happened last June. Patrick Chen came down harsh on Tremblay, giving him a harsher sentence than what Crown was asking for. Tremblay's lawyer says it's doubtful his client will ever coach again.
It's horrible. He put in years and years coaching hockey. He put in years and years as a scoutmaster, and that's all over.
One of the players injured his wrist and was forced to wear a cast after the incident. And once Tremblay has served his jail time, he will be on 12 months probation. Thorsten Gerlach in Richmond for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, public reaction to the liquid and natural gas development in BC.
And Surrey residents demand more buses in their city.
This is me. And my mom and dad. And my big brother Alex. And Jack. This is the day I learned that sandals got their name from sand. That jellyfish aren't made of jelly. That stars don't just come from the sky. That the ocean is bigger than all of us. This is the day we all got to forget I was sick. This was my wish.
The provincial government made an energy Government made a major energy announcement earlier in the week. Premier Christy Clark announced almost $350 million in tax benefits and royalty credits to boost the liquefied natural gas industry. Yet, as Connor Danoon found out, collecting natural gas from our province isn't stirring up the same controversy some proposed pipelines
Out on the streets of Vancouver, the issue of collecting natural gas has people divided, and some aren't even sure how it's done.
It affects our water shell, right? It poisons it. It doesn't make sense.
I'm not necessarily in agreement with the contractual agreements with sharing the provinces and such, but keeping it within the province makes more sense to me.
The effects of extracting it is it's not very good.
This animation shows the process through hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. It's the most widely used method of collecting natural gas in BC. The process creates fractures in rock layers deep in the earth from a pressurized chemical cocktail, forcing the fossil fuel to the surface. Ken Ashley from BCIT's Rivers Institute warns increasing our natural gas extraction will put BC's wildlife and waterways at risk.
Because it's so new, it's really, I don't think the jury's in on what are the long-term implications of it when you sort of understand what it's doing to the environment. It takes a huge amount of water to do the directional drilling and the fracking. So where does the water come from? BC has no groundwater legislation right now. So that means you can pull as much groundwater as you want out of the ground.
The announcements made earlier this week by Premier Clark include the federal government's approval of Shell Canada's LNG export permit from their proposed station in Kitimat, $120 million in provincial royalty credits to boost the natural gas industry, and a $200 million agreement between proposed pipeline developer Pacific Trail Pipelines and 15 First Nations groups across the province. Connor Danoon in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
In other political news, the NDP is accusing the Liberal government of using the public service to help the Liberals win ethnic votes. The opposition says leaked documents show the Liberals have a plan to spend tax dollars on partisan activities aimed at the ethnic community. Multiculturalism Minister John Yap says the plan is more than a year old and does not completely represent Liberals' plans when it comes to engaging ethnic communities.
Some cyclists in the Lower Mainland say it's time to change the rules when it comes to bicycles and stop signs. Advocacy groups want the City of Vancouver to stop treating cyclists as though they're cars, arguing that bicycles should be able to yield to a stop sign and not come to a full stop.
Bicycles should not be considered part of a motor vehicle under the Motor Vehicle Act.
It's more efficient. A lot of stops over here, so that would speed up the commute time.
Dangerous for cars, dangerous for the cyclists themselves. If a car doesn't see them, if they space out for whatever reason. I almost got hit there just the other day, so.
Some cyclists feel the change would be a good thing. However, the proposal has been met with public disapproval. Protesters lined the streets of Surrey to rally against the city's lack of buses. They say the growing population doesn't meet the supply of transit services. But as Sana Rungwala found out, TransLink doesn't have the finances to meet the demand.
Everyone from students to seniors had their signs out to share their message. Better bus services for Surrey.
After 8:30 at night, I have to take a bus, 2 SkyTrains and 2 more buses. But before 8:30, I only have to take 2 buses.
The most frustrating part for me is when I'm done my day and the bus that I'm going to take does not show up.
Organizers of this rally say there is 1 bus for every 4,000 people. And with Surrey growing at nearly 1,000 people a month, it's falling behind.
They don't have enough buses. The passengers continue to get passed up. And really, after 6:30 at night, your service is limited, and the night bus service is just atrocious.
TransLink says it's doing its part by making route changes to serve areas with higher demand, but it says its hands are tied when it comes to increasing services.
We only have as much funding as we're given, and right now we haven't been able to really introduce any more funding to put in more routes and that sort of thing in the last couple of years. We're only able to basically sustain what we have.
Surrey's mayor says someone needs to take responsibility for this funding.
We need to go back to the drawing table. We need to find a solution for sustainability and a sustainable funding policy.
So what's the solution to all of this? Well, a meeting between the chair of the Metro Vancouver's Mayor's Council and the Minister of Transportation is set up for this week. It's to discuss the lack of bus services in Surrey. Surrey residents hope something positive will come out of it. Sana Rangwala in Surrey for BCIT Magazine. It's called the Know Your Rights card, and it's for sex workers in Vancouver's downtown east side. The project is being launched by the Vancouver's Pivot Legal Society and the Sex Workers United Against Violence Society, and it aims to keep the city's sex workers safe. Janella Hamilton has the story.
DJ Joe used to walk this street for 14 years and knows firsthand the dangers of being a sex worker.
These guys need more help than anything, especially in the downtown east side, because these guys do experience a lot of experience being out here on the street, and it's not that easy to come forward to make a report. Because sometimes they don't want to make a report because they're too shy or they're too scared, or they can go into hiding because they don't want to make a report.
Joe says one of the reasons sex workers are afraid to come forward is because they're unaware of their rights. In response to this fear, Pivot Legal Society and Sex Workers United Against Violence have started a new program to help prostitutes feel safer.
The cards, as you can see, are small. They're designed to fit into a back pocket or into a wallet. The idea is that sex workers can read it. It provides a simple message that hopefully will empower sex workers to understand what their rights are and therefore be able to go out and live more safely in their communities.
Pivot's litigation director, Katrina Pacey, hopes the card will encourage sex workers to trust authority.
Our goal would be that they feel encouraged and empowered to come forward to police to report if they're victims of violence. That the policy in the card really shifts their awareness of the way the police are required to respond, and that the police are required and will respond in a way that's really effective and meaningful and proactive.
2,000 cards have been printed so far, and the distribution will begin tonight. Pivot and Suave have also written letters to police departments across Canada, encouraging them to develop similar programs. Janella Hamilton in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, Chinatown could be changing whether some like it or not.
And a local Chinatown resident gets acknowledged for his work.
They say if you want a wish to come true, never tell anyone. But there is one wish that can make the difference between life and death. And this wish can only come true if you tell someone. Please, let your family know you want to be an organ donor.
Standby graphics, ready camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news.
Today on BCIT Magazine,
striking.
Make magic on a movie set.
Frame.
And action. Or bring your creative ideas to life. BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
I'm Melissa Bauer, and this is your community calendar. The Full Circle First Nations Performance presents the 12th Annual Talking Stick Festival running until March 3rd. The citywide event provides a stage for extraordinary Aboriginal artists and is a great place to check out traditional song, dance, and stories from the Aboriginal culture. The 9th Annual Diversity Health Fair takes place Saturday, March 9th. It's the largest of its kind in Canada, comprised of over 50 health and wellness experts from various backgrounds. The best part about the fair? It's free of charge. The Vancouver International Salsa Festival runs March 7th to 10th. The 4-day event features parties, performances, and workshops, and over 4,000 participants from 18 different countries. I'm Melissa Bauer, that's your community calendar.
While Pink Shirt Day has come and gone, taking a stance against bullying is an initiative that should be practiced every day of the year. 15-year-old Vancouver high school student Sid Buller knows this all too well. Last November, he wrote and produced an anti-bullying music video in an effort to spread awareness. The video has over 71,000 views on YouTube and has been a catalyst in starting the conversation about bullying in the Lower Mainland. Sid Buller joins us today. Thanks for being with us, Sid.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's have a look at this video that you've made so our viewers know what we're talking about. Let's have a look. I'm gonna make you say this, reconsider. So I kick back, stay high up alive. And now I won't stop, won't stop. Now I won't stop, won't stop. Now I won't stop, won't stop. I won't fall. Tell me, Sid, why did you decide to make this video?
Well, bullying has become a very serious topic in this generation, and I face bullying, and I know a lot of other individuals who have faced bullying. So I guess it's kind of influenced me to make a music video because most teenagers in this generation listen to music, so I kind of tried to speak the language of this generation.
Now, there are events around the year like Pink Shirt Day where we have the conversation about bullying, but I mean, it doesn't go on all year around. So what do you think needs to happen to have this conversation in schools every day of the year?
There should definitely be more pressure from the schools, more assemblies, more groups and talks about the awareness of bullying and how it should be stopped.
How do you think your video helps kids?
I think my video spreads awareness in a fun and musical way, and also it tells everyone that bullying is a serious matter and it should be stopped right away.
So what's your message for anybody out there who is being bullied right now?
Definitely stand up because if you're being bullied, just go tell someone. I know it's hard, but you just know that you're not alone.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. Vancouver's Chinatown has undergone significant change over the last few decades, with old landmarks turned into upscale restaurants and new housing units. Now, a rezoning application passed by City Council signals that the area could soon look even more different. Matt Lee has the story.
As a tour guide, Judy Lamb Maxwell has walked the streets of Vancouver's Chinatown so many times she no longer keeps count. And for many years, she's come to learn and love everything it has to offer.
As a historian, I really appreciate the history, the heritage of the buildings, my ethnic connection.
A motion passed by Vancouver City Council proposed a brand new 17-floor residential tower to be built on the southwest corner of Main and Kiefer. Chinatown has always been a low-rise area steeped in cultural history. She believes it'll make tourists and Vancouver residents look at the area in a positive light.
I think it'll take time for people to adjust to the changes in the neighborhood, partially because a lot of people in their minds see this as a really seedy neighborhood because we're very close to Main and Hastings.
But more than anything, Judy wishes things could also stay the same. She'd like all the small tea shops, the familiar faces to keep showing up. But the changing Chinatown landscape ushers in the fear of gentrification and with it, the loss of its character, charm, and spiritual history.
I'm more interested in the older buildings that need to be restored, not in building new buildings.
Others say the change is natural progression. Local business owner Yvonne Sang says that Chinatown is long overdue for a revitalization.
We want Chinatown need to be changed. Of course, not exactly. We hope to keep the historical building, but also we need a new building, new people to move in and come in to run the business, and then the more people walk on the street.
Judy's noticed that the streets of Chinatown are often bare, so the transformation is required. But she'll continue to offer tours so that people will appreciate the history of it while it remains. Matt Lee in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. In other news in the development world, the tallest hotel on the planet has opened in Dubai. The 72-story building measures 1,099 feet, just 290 feet shorter than the Empire State Building. Meteorologists have advised residents along the southern coast to get prepared as a major storm passes through the region. Environment Canada estimates up to 150 milliliters of rain could fall on Tofino and other parts of western Vancouver Island this weekend. A Pineapple Express phenomenon is to blame for the wet weather, with the heaviest amount of precipitation expected to fall along the North Shore Mountains. The city of Vancouver paid recognition to an influential member of the Chinatown community this week. And as Janella Hamilton found out, this dedicated volunteer has no plans of retiring anytime soon.
77-year-old Fred Ma's full-time job is keeping the culture alive in Chinatown. In honor of his 28 years of dedication, Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson presented this longtime volunteer with a Civic Merit Award.
I feel very, very happy, feel honored. But, just by myself, I cannot carry all these things.
His family's support is also a big part of his success.
I think my dad really loves Vancouver, and he really enjoyed giving back to the community, and that's really the reason why he did it. We're just very happy that he's getting recognized today because he does it out of the goodness of his heart, right? So we're very proud of him that we get to see him achieve this.
Ma has a long list of accomplishments, including the creation of Vancouver's Dragon Boat Festival, the Chinese New Year Parade, and the conservation of several heritage buildings in Chinatown. Although most 77-year-olds have been retired for some time, Ma is still bursting with ideas and is too busy planning for the future of Chinatown.
The next list is that what we want to do is push for Chinatown to be a UN heritage site. The reason that we want to do that is that, once it's a heritage site, UN heritage site, it's going to be world known. And that's to attract tourists into Chinatown. That's one of the objectives, get the tourists back. I would like to see the Chinatown become a UN heritage site before I retire.
If he succeeds, Chinatown will be British Columbia's first UNESCO Cultural World Heritage Site. Janella Hamilton in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Pope Benedict has become the 16th and the first pontiff in 600 years to resign. He cited health reasons as his reason for stepping down and says he plans to spend the final stage of his life as simply a pilgrim. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. I'm Sana Rangwala.
And I'm Matt Lee, and that's today's BCIT Magazine. We leave you now with another look at Sid Buller's video, Won't Stop.
The way that I keep to deliver, I'ma make these haters reconsider. Till I kick back, stay high up for life, and now I won't stop, won't stop.